So the next warbler I want to talk about is the Townsend's warbler. And they are harder to see because they're a warbler. They really like mature conifer forests. And when they're here, they're up in the tops of the trees often. So it's quite hard to see them sometimes. And their song usually, well, we'll play it, but I usually recognize it because it's got really, really high notes that you can almost not hear. So can we have that song, please?
They're quite variable as well. That's another thing about them.
So it starts out with these really high notes and then it ends up with really high notes. So those are the Townsends. So I'm going to let Trudy take it from here, talk about some sparrows.
Okay, you want me to find the right crowns?
I've got it.
Oh, you got it. Good. So the next little bird is a very common little bird. It's a sparrow, and you can tell that by their beak. It was a lot fatter, little bill than the warblers that Alison just showed. These ones are quite common around, and they're common even, they do winter here even. But the white-crowned sparrow is one of those ones with the there's two mnemonics that I have for it. More, cheesies, please. More, cheesies, please. So these little birds will be on the ground and they'll go up in the bushes, and I've heard them even on, just as you get off the Protection Island ferry, there's a lot of white-crowned sparrows in that kind of apple tree. They're also insectivorous, and I think Alison, so there's more, cheesies, please, or oh dear Canada, Canada. The white-crowned sparrow. That's perfect. More cheesies, please. Okay? And then the next is a real bird of our coast. This is the song sparrow. And the song sparrows have been studied a lot in biology, and especially at Mandarty Island. They've been studied. Mandarty Island's on the south coast of our Salish Sea off the Saanich Peninsula. And the song sparrows there have been studied because they have different dialects. And they are a common bird around the seashore, just right at the seashore edge. So they'll be picking up little beach hoppers and various little insects and hopping, and they'll make a nest in bits of grass, and even not so far from the ground on some islands I've seen found their little nests. And they're quite a beautiful song, very variable, and they have different dialects. Their mnemonic, Alison, maybe play that one more time. There's different mnemonic. Maids, put on your tea kettle, ettle. Maids, put on your tea kettle, ettle. I don't know. Anyways, there you go. Maids, put on your tea kettle. So that's the little song sparrow. These are what are affectionately known as LBJs, or little brown jobs, or that are not, but they may have a plain coloration, but they have a beautiful song. So we'll go to the next one, which is another sparrow. Oh no, it's not a sparrow. This is the house finch, isn't it? Yeah. Now we have a couple of finches here. The house finch is the more common. If any of you have bird feeders, you will have seen the house finch. You may be lucky to see its partner. The most lookalike one is the purple finch, and we have those here too. And finches have bills. You can see its bill is quite fat, and it's probably the fat of these songbirds, but a beautiful little, and they are real feeder birds, these house finches, and you'll probably hear them, and they have a warbling song, long warbling song. So let's see if they have that one in my mnemonic list. So these songs are, as we mentioned, all territorial and to do with breeding. And they come as the light increases, which it's doing now. It gets the birds' hormones going. So I think we're on to you, aren't we, Alison?
Mm-hmm.
I just have to get this up.
I can do it.
Okay, you do that.
Okay. It's a little overwhelming, I know, but if you just check out some of those bird apps that we were talking about, like Song Sleuth, or go to the Cornell All About Bird site, and you can look at a picture of the bird and then hear the song. So you can, at least if you're going to do it from home, you get those two things on the same page, and then you can go out and see if you can find it around you in the forest. Okay, the next bird is the junco, the dark-eyed junco. They're a kind of sparrow, actually, super common, and they, really adapt well to gardens and neighborhoods, and they hang around fairly low, so they're easy to see, and you recognize them because they have two outer white tail flashes. And yeah, they're resident, right? So we were talking about migrators versus residents. So these are resident birds, although sometimes what the residents do is they're resident in an area, but they maybe shift a little bit from north to south. So you might not be seeing the same individuals in your yard all winter long as you do in the summertime. And these also can change elevations too, so they'll go up higher at the end of the breeding season and then come back down again. So sometimes we see these altitudinal shifts. And the song is fairly nondescript.
This is two males counter singing.
You can hold it up to the microphone.
Okay. A trill. So this is a trill. So the dark-eyed junco has a really trilly call song.
Okay, so are you getting the songs okay? Are they coming through all right?
Should I play its chip call?
Okay, and there's a chip call that's really distinctive too.
Two-parted song and chip calls. Oops,
okay.
Let's see if I got it. Oops, sorry, that's the song. This is the chip.
That's really common.
Yeah, you'll hear that often. That's an alarm call.
It means there's a cat in the garden. Okay, one of my favorite birds, resident birds, is the spotted towhee. And it's also a kind of sparrow. I love its ruby red eye. It's a real ground bird, and it loves sort of overgrown borders and just parts of the forest that are kind of left natural. So if you can leave some natural areas in your garden, it's really good because some birds actually really need them. So you'll often hear a towhee foraging in the leaf litter before you actually see it. And then what they'll do is they'll stand in leaf litter, and then all of a sudden they'll jump backwards. So they're using their feet. You can see how big and powerful their claws are. They use their feet to actually pull the leaf litter away, and then they dig around and get little insects and stuff on the ground. So they're sometimes kind of hard to see, but then in the spring, it's like they have a personality change, and all of a sudden the males are like up on the tops of sort of medium height trees and just singing away. So they're, like Trudy said, they're singing to draw the boundaries of their territories for other males to know, this is my territory.
Oh, that's my territory. Just a minute.
Oh, yeah. And they also will make this funny little cat-like.
These have a lot of variation in the spotted towhee. Let me see if I can.
They have almost a metallic call, a part of their song, but just wait till the one. Yeah, that's the mew-like call. So they do that when they're down low.
Can we do that one again?
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay with your touch?
So are you, does anyone recognize that call? Yeah, it's quite common.
Their songs are difficult though because they have quite a lot of variation.
Yeah, the songs are quite variable, but they have that in the spring when the males are kind of up and, like, you know, being loud and proud. they have these kind of like chunky metallic parts to their song. So then another resident is the chestnut-backed chickadee, and chickadees are insect eaters. See the tiny little bill? And not a lot of insect eaters actually manage to stick around for the winter, but they're just experts at, you know, pulling insects out of all their winter hiding places. And there are 3 species of chickadees in BC, but only 1 species on Vancouver Island. The other 2 didn't make it here. So this is the chestnut-backed chickadee. You can see why it's called that. The other 2 species are black-capped and mountain. They're hole nesters. So they're one of the birds that it's quite important that these birds have things like trees that are dying or dead, so that, yeah, those are the ones that have been worked by woodpeckers, and those are where these hole nesting birds find their nests. Yeah, so Trude, do you want to get the song up?
Well, that's agitation, sorry. This is their agitation call, which you'll hear all winter as well. Now get their song, it's quite different.
So, you know, that's sort of got a mnemonic, doesn't it? Chickadee, dee, dee, chickadee,
yeah.
dee, dee.
Rapid calls an alarm, begging calls from a pair. Here you go. Oh no, that's calls from a pair. There is they haven't got the song on here.
Yeah, in the spring they make this like very high.
Different song. Yeah. Let's see, here's the chickadee calls from, no, that's that. Begging calls. No, those are fledglings. No.
Yeah, don't worry about it. But
So
the thing is that the actual song is only, they don't do it for very long.
Yeah.
So mostly what we hear are those call kind of sounds for the chestnut-backed chickadee. Okay, Trudy, you can take it away with the wrens. That's the winter wren or Pacific wren.
Yes. Well, I've had a lot to do with wrens lately because there's some in my near my yard. But the Pacific wren, it used to be called the winter wren, is another resident. And the wrens have probably the most amazing songs that we have here. They have these, they're just a tiny little bird. They're maybe less than 10 centimeters, about maybe 6 centimeters big. They're very tiny, and they love bits of brush and shrubbery, and so they call, even in the winter, they hop around, and then they sing beautifully at this time of year. So the winter wren has one of the most complex songs of all, and it has the song that warbles back and forth over its vocal cords. It actually recycles the air through that, and the songs just go on and on. So that's not a hard, that's one's an easy one.
You know, I'm going to get the slowed down song. That's so fun to listen to.
Okay, Alison's gonna get the slow song, but they have, it just goes on and on singing like that, and they're very, very much a bird of our West Coast forests and forest birds. So she's gonna play that one while we're just waiting for a bit.